Just by the way, and again, because I think there was some confusion about Representative Garrett's covered bonds issues. And I thought I made it clear. Bob Corcoran made some suggestions. We had a little confusion. I think what I thought the suggestion was, still prepared to do a hearing. If that is any consolation, that probably isn't anything you'd offer in a conference report, a committee. But we rejected the proposal, and but I appreciate it. We'll look at it and see what we can do. But I thought I'd be clear about that. I think there was some question as to whether or not that was still out in the dangling back and forth. That was a rejection.
I would then move, because we do have to get this conference concluded, that the House concur in the Senate rejection. Is there discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. There was some, or actually quite a bit, of discussion over the last 6 hours with regard to this. And what we had liked to do, and I will do now, is propose an amendment which attempted to address some of the concerns that were raised on the other side.
Recognized to offer the amendment.
Right. So the amendment is at the desk, has been circulated.
The clerk will designate the amendment. It's an amendment to Mr. Garrett, by Mr. Garrett, to Mr. Garrett's original proposal.
I don't believe we have it. Amendment to the Senate proposed amendment to Title IX.
I ask unanimous consent the amendment be considered as read, and the gentleman is recognized.
And basically the amendment is the exact same bill that we had before. It addressed just some of the technical issues that we were dealing with over there, some tax issues that some of the members had raised. So that was addressed. Also, as far as regulator, that issue was raised to move it from Treasury over to OCC, so you have a prudential-type regulator to involve with the process. And I'll just keep it
Can you go
at that.
to distribute?
Well, I will respond and say I obviously initiated putting it through. We have a conference process. The Senate does not seem inclined to move. We've had to give up on several things on both sides. The gentleman, the Senator from Connecticut, has promised hearing.
I apologize. I was sorry. I didn't hear the two. I apologize.
Sure. Yeah, real quick. We put in language that some members in the Senate had concerns with, that we had hoped to be able to address some concerns. One was on a tax aspect, and the other one was with the regulator, put in a prudential regulator, so moved over from Treasury, get out of Treasury, but over to the OCC. So just that's there.
And again, I'm sure I'm telling you something you know already, and the FDIC has very strong objections to covered bonds because they work on the assumption that if these are left in the bank, the taxpayer's on the hook through the deposit insurance, as opposed to the investor assuming the risk. The bank assumes the risk and adds their financial burdens and taxpayer costs. So they're vehemently opposed to it. And on the basis of that, I'd have to...
I understand what the gentleman said. I will join the Senator from Connecticut in promising, well, in our case, we've had a hearing. We're ready to proceed to a markup, and in July we will have a markup on this bill.
Well, if I'm understanding the Senator, although on the one hand I appreciate very much for the fact for the hearing, but if on the other hand the fact that the FDIC is opposed to it, they ain't going to change their opposition. So
let's get back to the regular order. The gentleman is allowed to continue on his amendment.
Yeah. You plan to?
I would, since we're sort of in that informal state, I would say that I sympathize with the congressman, but I can count. And even at 4:35, I think what we ought to do is take the goodwill gestures. This isn't going to happen tonight. I already know that from this side of the aisle. I'm not trying to be a defeatist, but it's not going to happen. And take up the markup suggestion from your chairman, and we'll take the hearing suggestions from ours and try to move this ahead, because otherwise nothing good's going to come of this evening. Only because I can do math.
It's the gentleman from New Jersey's time.
I appreciate that, Senator, and I conclude my remarks. I appreciate the...
All right, the question then is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from New Jersey. Gentleman from Alabama.
I'll be very brief. The Covered bonds, I'm not sure what the FDIC's objection would be because the investors retain 100% of the risk. So, in fact, that's one of the attractive features of a covered bond. It's 100% risk retention.
If I could, I think that's the problem. The bank, not the investor, retains 100%. It's just the opposite of that. And so when they come in to seize a bank, they have concerns about the effect on their ability to make the depositors whole. So I think, again, I disagree with that, but I think we're in a better position with the goodwill we have here to move something ahead. Otherwise, I mean, this is going to be...
The Senator has talked about goodwill. Goodwill has been known to be a deteriorating asset and has to be written off. And I would say that goodwill is not inexhaustible, and we might start depreciating that asset in a little bit.
The motion is withdrawn as far as the...
The gentleman has withdrawn the amendment. I will now, again, put to a vote by motion that the House recede to the Senate on the covered bonds. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.